Welcome to the channel and this short video on update 1.37 for No Man's Sky. This was released on the 15th of September 2017 if you're watching this in the future. Now before I start talking about the changes, I just want to talk about something else. Now if any of you guys have been following or you're watching this in the future and you kind of think, well, what happened to 1.36? Well, 1.36 became the result of speculation by various people that were tracking the beta development thread on Steam, and it started to become a kind of unofficial release, and people were kind of commenting on and saying this is what's happening. And I think that's had two effects. One is that I suspect that Hello Games have been bumped into doing this release slightly earlier than they originally planned. And the other one is also that the reason they've actually skipped 1.3.6 simply because some of the videos out there were not representing the release itself, so they've actually taken the very wise decision of jump to 1.3.7. Now what is in this release? Well, it's quite a substantial release in its own way, but it doesn't introduce any major new functionality. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that this is more of a quality of life release, where they've kind of taken some feedback, they've made some changes, they've also patched some exploits to do with trading, which again, there's been a symptom. I mean, I do track what people are releasing to YouTube, and there's been some really crazy videos out there where people saying how to make 70 million credits in an hour and things like that by exploiting trading. I mean, personally, that's not me. It's not the way I like to play the game. I think it got a little bit out of control, and Hello Games have kind of taken the step to say that they need to rebalance the trading back down again so that it kind of makes the game more enjoyable rather than people just going out to try and create record amounts of money. Not that I've actually made any money in this series at the moment. This is my permadeath series, and for that reason, so there are some things in this release I can't actually demonstrate. And on the same thread, some of them are just tweaks anyway. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to demonstrate the ones that I can, talk about one or two others, and then there's a whole list of bug releases and changes which I'm not going to read out, guys. It'd be incredibly boring. It'd make the video a lot longer than what it actually is, and I will just put the full release notes in the video description. So that over and done with, what is actually in the release? Well, I'm going to kind of go through them in stage, and I'm going to start with the big one from my point of view, which is changes to the low flight mode. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys, I'm not sure from my personal perspective that this is actually improvement, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you in general options. And if you see here, it says flight controls locked, tethered inverted, locked inverted, and flight controls tethered. What I'm going to do is go back to log first, and the other thing I want to show you guys is come into controls now. Now I'm not 100% certain, because it's a very long time since I've looked at this. You've actually got two mappable keys here. It says turn left, turn right, and I have done some experimentation with them, and I'm not sure if they actually work, because I've tried mapping them to A and D. What you get is the ship rolls and turns left and right, turns there. I did map them to a couple of other keys, Z and C, and that caused a conflict. Then I kind of mapped them to the cursor keys like this. I think if you, I mean, to map them, you go in here and then go like that, like that. In fact, I'll do that, guys, just to demonstrate. And what we're going to do, guys, is take off. And this is effectively normal flight mode, and you can see what you can do now is actually steer the ship with either the mouse or the cursor turning left and right. The only problem is that because I've mapped them to the cursor keys on the right hand side of the keyboard, to actually fly it becomes actually a two-handed kind of operation. You can see it's a bit tricky. I don't know whether it will actually work if you had a controller, whether you could actually, whether that applies to the controller. I don't have a controller, so if I get a bit of momentum, it's Here, so if you really want to have a realistic flight, see here you can and come this way. Now what I will say, guys, is I've actually a few crashes with the ground when I was actually doing some practice flying, and I think that this is only going to work if you can really sort your key mappings out. You can't actually use Q and E. I think in the pre-release videos, what they actually done is they made the mappable keys Q and E and moved the landing to F. So the only way I think you could fix that is actually by remapping your landing key, but I haven't tried that, so no guarantees on that. Anyway, that is the keys there, and if I click on control and go to general options, I'm going to now flip to, tethered and go back again, and I've got to kind of flow a bit low, and what you've actually got, and as far as I know, the ability to map the keys remains the same, but what I will show you guys, if I get some contrast gates there, this actually shows up better at night, and this is one of the reasons why I've got kind of mixed feelings about this. If you see above, there's a kind of tethered kind of chevron which shows which way your ship's going to go. Yeah, if I go down low, but I'm going to crash, so sorry about that, guys. I've got to be aware this is permadeath mode, so I can't go back and save if I actually crash. Apologies if I'm being a bit cautious. Again, my personal reservation is that I find that a little bit distracting. I suppose if you kind of use it a lot, it'd be quite useful, because obviously the bigger you go like that, you can spin right round like this. See? I think they've also actually increased sensitivity of the flight controls as well, although that could be a setting on my mouse. My mouse is set to be very, very sensitive on tracking. Anyway, guys, so this is the changes to the flight controls, and you're either going to love them or hate them, but the good thing is that if you don't like it, you just do what I'm going to do, guys, before I crash, which is I'm going to go back to here, I'm going to go back to locked, and of course what I'm also going to do is go back to controls and set the defaults, because I mean, to me, this is what I've been doing for over a year now, and I was really quite happy with it, and I can fly like this, I'm used to it. Maybe if I start a normal campaign or a survival campaign, I'll get some practice flying, but it's, for me at the moment in permadeath, it's too much of a risk, especially if I go up into space. I'm assuming that if I can get up into space, I haven't tried this in space, guys, so this is against a bit of a quick risk. Let's fly to back to here. Yeah, it applies in space, and again, I would find that a little bit of a distraction if I was trying to say fighting in a battle, and you've got there. I'm not going to get in a battle to demonstrate it, guys. Okay, I need to get back out of space because I don't really want to fight. Yeah, so it works in space, maybe, but I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Whoops. See, I just don't seem to, I don't feel I have the control of, compared to before, and I can't change the mode till I get down. Right, guys, I'm finally back on the planet. It was got a bit scary. I'm sticking with my original controls. Maybe I will do a bit more experimentation with the key mapping, but that's something to worry about in the future. Now, the next part of this release, which is tied up with the flight controls, is something I am very excited about, and apologies to any of you guys who use controllers or PS4. This is very much an enhancement for PC users who use a keyboard like me. That is, if you press Alt, you can look round the cockpit. Small change, yes, but a massive change from my point of view, because that has always been one of the frustrations. I just managed to hit the ground. Okay, I'm not flying very well at the moment. that is a massive change, and what I'm going to do is fly back to the base, or back to my landing pad, and then I will demonstrate the rest of this update on the ground so that I don't crash. So I'll see you in a minute, guys, once I actually get back to base. Welcome back, guys. What I've done is I've opted to land on this trading station to demonstrate some of the other features that have been introduced with this update. Just going to go in here, and I think this is quite cool. Obviously my starship is up, so what I'm going to do is send this back. What you get straight away now, this is a new thing to enhance transfer items. What I can do is actually transfer back to my exosuit. That's the default X, and it says I've got capacity for 1250. Or what I can do now is send this to the roamer, but like that. And if I now go to my exocraft, see that I've actually got this now in here. If I to kind of emphasize it, guys, by this, I can move it to the starship or back to the exocraft, and I think that is very, very cool, guys. I like that idea. It certainly is going to make a big difference to do with the management of inventories, and I think what we're also going to do now is I click now on here, because of course this was the other option, and what they've actually done is they've introduced a kind of two changes. First one is that you can now sort by where you are. Obviously the disk lists everything that's available. This is obviously the ship, but of course the Nomad, and Nomad, I don't have a Nomad, I have an exocraft. There might be a bit of a glitch there, guys, if that's meant to list the exocraft. If you've got multiple exocrafts, that may not be working, and that's actually showing the Nomad symbol, but I do not have a Nomad, so there might be a bit of a bug there, guys, but it's still not a problem. What you can do is say I want to pull these back, or pull one back. That's interesting also, is the fact you only get one back at the when you actually do that. So that is another big change from my perspective when it comes to managing inventory, especially if you're really big into farming. That's going to make a big difference. Game very simple, but it really enhances the game. And the other thing also, if I kind of show it to you, now got this little curious dot here, and the dot moves as you pageation, so it's like a kind of pageation indicator to say where you are. It might take a little while of getting used to, because I'd expected it to start there and move over, but it's move over, and of course, oh, you can move over an extra pageation thing, and so you kind of get one. So it's like a pageation indicator, and I think that also applies now to installing technology. Yep. And usual categories. So basically, what they've done is converted the transferring into the same situation for installing technology. Again, simple change, very, very small, and it makes a big difference. Okay, so I'm going to quit out of there, guys. The next part I want to talk about, guys, is it's going to be very difficult for me to demonstrate this, because I do not have an economy scanner, because I haven't yet found one, and they've made a lot of changes. I'm not going to read them all out, purely and simply because there's quite a long list, and I don't actually know what the true implications is. I don't know if I can actually demonstrate them. It consists things like improved prices, trade outposts for offer of trade goods. It says allow economy scanner to be used from quick menu to locate an outpost. Added quick menu option to scan for outposts using economy sensor. So I think those two are kind of related together. And it says, and there's another one here kind of mixed in as well. It says improved pricing for freighters and freighter trade-in prices. And it says added economy information to the galactic map for systems the players have already visited. Again, I did go up and test that, but if you haven't got the economy scanner, it just says it doesn't give you any information whatsoever anyway. And it also says improved trade pricing policy, and it says fixed exploit with teleporting between systems to trade. So I think kind of Hello Games have been probably monitoring some of the more extreme videos of people saying, oh, make 100 million in an hour by trading exploits, and I think there might be one or two disappointed people out there who are going to suddenly find that that opportunity is being closed. And I say there are other ones as well. I say there's lots of changes, but I'm not going to read everything through in detail. Now, the next one, guys, is a little bit of a mystery, and if any of you guys actually knows what this means, I'd very much appreciate it if you put it in the comments. It says increased tech fragment rewards from tech debris. Now, I'm not too sure what that is, because I'm not overly sure what tech debris are. Now, what I did think was that it was this, the Atlas path, but you actually get antimatter from this. And if you look at this is a damaged these are damaged containers. So I'm not sure where the tech reward is, unless it's actually damaged machinery down on the planet. So a little bit of confusion there, guys. I think maybe if anyone actually knows what that is, I'd much appreciate it. And just to kind of go down and show you guys the trading which I've just been talking about, seeing I'm outside of the ship. If I go over here in this section here, again, it's very, I don't know enough about the prices to actually justify it, guys, but looking through this, I can't see. I mean, this is selling, and they're offering 1573. I mean, I did see videos of people saying that they can't buy videos if we just flip to buy mode, and they were saying that there's no thallium. There's some thallium there. It looks like they've actually reduced the quantities back to like they were before, because I must admit I didn't quite like the very high levels of quantities that come where you could come up here and buy 200 plutonium. I think if this is the rebalancing where it's gone back to the way it was before, where you could only buy relatively small amounts, which is pre the 1.3 release, I do like that. And I know some of you guys are going to shout at me and say no, because I think when they put really large quantities in here to buy, I think they kind of unbalance the game, and that's, I mean, that's very much my personal opinion. And to me, it spoilt it, because you could go up to a space station, buy 300 or 400 thallium, and that was it. There was no reason to go out and actually explore the planet. And so if that's what they meant by rebalancing, where they've actually just shifted the amounts back down to the pre 1.3 releases, I will support that. I think that actually is quite relevant. Now, I think I've covered most of the things. I'm just going to have a quick look through these notes. A lot to do with trading, which I can't demonstrate. The tech fragment one is a little bit of a mystery. Updated terrain editing effects is something, again, I haven't really looked at. And oh yeah, it says this is another one, guys. Come to discoveries. They've now added a button here that says upload all, and I don't know if I can find a planet. I'm quite, there we are. And if you decide to do a rename and upload now, I'm going to do here now. What they've actually added, the ability to use the backspace now to change things when entering text. Again, another minor change, but I think it makes a big difference. And what you do now is just do that. Oops, no, E. And I mean, obviously I haven't got much, but if you've got lots of stuff all built up in your inventories, I presume it so affects. Oh no, you have to have that active. So yeah, okay. No, that only applies to there. Ah, so it only applies to planets, which in some ways is it was always the irritating one, was having to go through and do all your planets. You've still got to do the uploads for individuals. Oh, so that's maybe not quite as good as I thought it was being. I mean, I do tend to try and keep this under control. Anyway, that is very useful for your planets, and I've actually made a bit more cash. I think this is where I've kind of rambled on quite a lot, guys, about the changes, and I think what I'll just do is I'll just page out and I will have a quick look at anything else. Let's have a quick Skype through. Oh, here's one guy that I have missed. It says change farmer missions to count plants grown anywhere towards requirements, including outside of player bases. Again, I'm not too sure what that is, because unless it just means like outside plants now. So to do the farmer missions, if you're on the right planet and you plant them outside, like I've got the plants outside on my base at the moment, that actually is, so it means you do not have to put the plants in the hydroponics bases. So that's quite useful. I think that will make a difference. There's improved rewards given from factory and harvester buildings to avoid awarding known recipes. So it looks like they've actually fixed this issue where you go and visit buildings and you actually keep getting silly recipes for car light sheets and stuff like that. So I think that will make a difference. It says improved fog and weather effects on low flights, reduces FPS when the game is not in focus. Okay, that could be interesting. And I think that's about it. I mean, as I say, there are quite a lot of bug issues which have been fixed. I say a lot of them are related to people exploiting the trading system. Okay guys, welcome to this very quick jump at the end of this update video. Now the reason for that is that after I finished the update video, I decided to record the next part of my permadeath series, and while I was actually looking at it, something came up which is very, very useful, and I thought I really want to demonstrate this to you guys. So sorry for the disjoint nature of the video, but I think this is really, really worth seeing, guys. If you click here, look at this, guys. I can transfer to my Roma and to my Colossus. Now it says Nomad there because I think they've got a little bit of a bug there, in the sense that Nomad is my exocraft, because I don't have a Nomad deployed. I haven't actually built a Nomad base in this thing. But guys, this is my Colossus and the Nomad, so you can transfer to and from your ship, your exocraft, and I'm sure you can do it for the same. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And again, I just want to demonstrate this, guys. Look, I know I'm messing my thing up, but you can send it to there, and my Colossus is active. So the Colossus is active, and just to kind of demonstrate it, guys. And I think this is going to make a big difference to me after the flight changes. In fact, maybe even above the flight changes. I think this is going to be the biggest change in this update, and this is why I wanted to add this to the video, because it is just really, really cool. I really like it. And again, I'm just going to come in here, and I'm really messing my inventories up here, and you can see. And if I go here, exocraft here, again it's still saying Nomad, and I suppose we can pull that back my ship. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. As I say, apologies that it's kind of appended to the end of the video, but it's the only way I could really do it. And I think this is where I'm going to leave the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it interesting, and until the next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.